So we're gonna take a look at removing this lower tire well piece. I forget what it's called. And what I'm going to do is, instead of trying to cut it right where it's supposed to be or remove it all, the easiest way is to go ahead and overcut where you want to take it out. So I'm going to take it out to right over here. I'm going to go down here somewhere, take it down this way. And this lip lays on top of another lip that comes around. So I'm going to make sure I'm off of that. I'm going to cut about an inch away from this all the way around so that I can actually peel off that metal that's there and lay this one in place. Alright, so I just started out with this piece. I'm going to cut a little bit more out here. Going to get a little bit closer in here. And then what I'm going to do is, once I get, but you can see how badly this was rusted. It was just so thin. Like if I sandblasted this, there wouldn't be much left. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to peel out some of the sections. Now I might have to just slit into the corner a little bit. I'm going to have to cut all the way through somewhere, maybe in here, and then just start rolling it up. What I do is like roll it up like a can of Spam, if you know what that is. You know, young people probably don't even know what Spam is. Yeah. Maybe buy a can of, well, they probably don't even do it that way anymore. They used to have a little key that you could get with the Spam can, and it would cut it in half. And by rolling a little key around in circles, it was kind of wild. But you older people are going to know what that means. Hopefully, this damn thing's so blurry. So anyway, hang on. Alright, so anyway, I had to refocus this thing. This is kind of what I was talking about. You just roll it up, and it breaks the spot welds. Now, if you have a panel cutter, you can shove the flat under there, or you can use a hammer and chisel. That works too, and knock your way along. Sometimes you end up bending the metal up pretty much, so it's a little easier sometimes just to roll it. It just depends, you know, try it and then see if it works. See whatever makes it happen. And that way you break it off right at the spot welds, and then you can put the other one right back in. And this is typical, if you're redoing any panel, a lot of times if you're going to take it back to the regular seam, this is the way to do it. So you can see there, it comes off a lot faster than drilling it. Some guys will drill out every spot weld, and that just takes a long time. Yeah. So you just keep rolling it as such, and you just work your way around, and you'll pull off those, it'll just tear off the spot welds, and then just grind it down. Another thing I do sometimes is I'll just cut slits in it like that, and then it'll weaken it so that I can just pull out smaller pieces. It all depends on how hard it is to get out. This one here is kind of in a tight spot, so, or if you don't really care that much, you could actually just leave this piece here and just lay right over it. It's really not going to change anything, so it all depends on what you want to do. I'll pull it off probably just for the heck of it, and then these corner pieces, you really got to get these out of here because it's a real tight fit, because you almost really have to have this car off the pan to do this piece. I mean, really effectively. If you could do it another way, but you might be able to shove it in from the front if you had the apron off. But it all depends on. I mean, I don't know if you could. I don't think it would fit. I don't think it would fit that way. It really wants to go in this way. Yeah, you just roll off these pieces like this, and it cleans it up like that. Then you just grind off all the little rest of that. It's not too hard to do. Sometimes a pair of good side cutters, they have these junky ones at Harbor Freight, but they work okay. Helps to kind of pull these off too, because you get the right angle. Let's see. You can see that. Got the leverage. And it just kind of pulls it off that weld. A lot faster than drilling, believe it or not. Way faster. just tear it. Kind of caught in a little place here. I'm doing this with one hand. Remember, when I have two hands, I can go about 3 times as fast. But then you just find these little pieces here, and you can grab them, kind of twist them a little bit, and that pulls off the weld sometimes. So if you can twist it, you know, sometimes you just twist it and it just tears the metal, pulls the weld off. Now, mind you, you can get a panel cutter, you know, panel cutter, and put it under here and just shove a chisel, an air chisel, right on under here and just let that kind of roll up. Actually, so Chris went ahead and got this fella in here. He made the thing, so I'll give him his credit for that. But I just was just doing. I told him what we're going to do. He did the rest. I showed him. He just did a great job. Look at that. Look at that. Butt welded in, perfect. Look at that, both sides, really nice. Okay, so this piece here, I got already prepped. So popped holes all the way around here. We just and we used our tool for that. One of these things here from Harbor Freight Tools. They have them all over the place, but 39 bucks. Does a stair step and a punch, hole punch. So we got this thing all prepped. This part's all clean. We got plug holes all right here. We're going to plug weld all this in so we don't have, because this is going to be showing. So I want this to look as much like original as possible. We don't want this car to look like a rust bucket. So this is the end here already, and we cleaned all this down here. Now there's a little bit of dirt in there and stuff, but what we had to do in the corners here is actually cut this out right here. It was just too jagged and too rough. I'll show you what we're going to use for that, and then we'll get started putting it in. So we bent these L metal pieces. They're going to attach to the outside and then be filled nice and clean. When we get done with that, you won't even know that it was there because it's going to be all filled in flush and you won't notice it. And then that will give us our edge underneath to go into place. So we're going to pie cut this metal and put this in after. We'll show you that later in the video. Okay, let's just... Alright, so we got this thing in place here. So what you need to do is make sure you're going to need this tool right here. If you don't have one of these, go down to Harbor Freight, buy a set of these things that's cheap. You're going to need that to line up these areas. I mean, you might be able to do it with a screw gun, but you're not going to be able to get it the right angle here to shoot a screw in there to hold it in place. It's going to be difficult to do. And with these, you're going to have to go through the hole here and just reach down and go as far as you can, and then just work your way along one weld at a time. This actually is a difficult piece to put in. Don't think that this is going to be really easy to do this piece. I already knew it was going to be hard just because of where it's at, and if it's in the car, oh man, if it's on the body, on the pan, I don't know. You could do it, but you're probably going to have to cut off this bottom edge and just shove your piece straight up. But it's still going to be really tough to do. So you start in the middle and then work your way this way and this way at the same time. Sweep to the left, sweep to the right, and just start bending and pushing as you go. You're not going to get 100% line up on this piece before you start. You're going to have to work your way along. So you start in the middle and then start working your way along, and you see all these pliers. There's really no other way to do it. So you need a set of these welding pliers. So that's just working our way along. We'll go one way a little bit, go the other side a little bit until we get it all the way across. Alright, so we went all the way across that way. Alright, so it's all the way across, welded, penetrated really good, checked everything out. Now we got to do the corners. They're a little tricky, and the bottom edge, and then the front. Actually, we may do the front before we do the bottom edge or the sides, these sides. So we decided it looks like it's going to form into the corners okay. We're going to go ahead and start in the front, and look how these tools come in handy. I mean, you really, there's not many other ways to do this. Alright, so we got the front done all the way across here, back done to the back of the car. The two corners are in. Now what we're going to do is make our pieces for the bottom edge. We'll see. We may trim those down a bit closer just so they don't look so ugly and make them look really nice. Alright, so this is what we ended up with on this side. Just going to weld that along. We're going to go ahead and burn that in, and then we'll have something to weld to underneath. Alright, so that's where these little ones come in handy. Stuff like that. Of course, you notice I pie cutted it to get those corners. Alright, so this side all raw. We're going to grind everything down, make it look good. And actually going to fill this whole edge so that you don't notice that it's like that. So I'm not worried about every little, doing that with plug welds. Alright, so this is this side here. Already all done. Alright, so this side's going on. I'm going to go ahead and get this one on here. We're going to finish and fix that little hole there real quick. Alright, so just working our way along, bending and welding. Gonna weld up some of these seams along here, and then put a nice little piece right here in the corner, and then just fill it. Do a little bit of grinding, some filler, and then we'll finish welding inside here. Alright, so that's what we did here. Just bent it around. Then what we're gonna do is go ahead and tack up those seams, like right there, just that seam. Clean that up, then we're going to go ahead and grind this all down. Let's take a look at it. Alright, so let's take a look here at how this looks after it was finished up. Went ahead and shrunk the apron down a little bit. There was a kind of big mound right here, and I shrunk that down. It wasn't from this piece, it was actually there before. So, and inside here, now we're looking at, back to just about to normal. Once I get it primed and seam sealed and all that, it should look great. Well, this is going to get seam sealed. Now on this repair, don't forget to seam seal this edge. I know it wasn't originally seam sealed, but on the inside here, you really need to seam seal that, because water is going to get in there. And when it gets in there, it has no place to go, so it will find rust. So make sure you seam seal that side really good, and I'm going to do that. Haven't done that yet, but here's how the other side looked. Just a little tacked edge along the bottom. This is going to get filled, so you won't notice that at all. And that will also, that back spare tire well area is repaired. Now I'm going to tell you guys that are doing, if you have to do this repair, this is not a really very easy repair. It's not something that you plan on spending some time doing it, and it did take two of us to do this, because you had to hold this, and clamp it, and sometimes you had to hold the clamp while you're trying to weld. I mean, one guy could do it, but it would be a lot easier if you had a helper, somebody to help you clamp it while you welded. I mean, some of this stuff here we had to finagle, a little bit at a time, and get that to look right and lay down real good. Of course, it's going to get filler, and yeah, there's a couple blow throughs right here, but it's not going to really matter. It's strong again. It was pretty weak right there. So strengthen it back up. Technically probably this whole section should be replaced, but it's not that bad. The metal's just a little bit thin, and I don't know, you can't get that. So I think it'll look fine when it's all done, especially when I get some seam sealer on that stuff, on that area there. We just shot a little bit of something on there to seal it, and go ahead and put some seam sealer on that now. And the seam sealer I got is actually an oil-based seam sealer, so the oil-based seam sealers, they can put them right on over the raw metal if you want. It all depends on what you want to do. So I'm probably going to do this edge here now, let that dry, maybe do that back edge and let that dry overnight, and then go from there. Alright, so I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Please like, share, and subscribe, and if you want to see some more metalwork, we'll be doing it.